Hi, welcome to Right to Top. I'm Adam. In today's video, I want to look at the TOEFL exam, the English exam, for those of you who need to go to an American university, for example. And more specifically, I want to look at the independent writing task, aka the essay. Now, what I want to look at today are the question types that you might face if you're going to be taking this exam. And why is it important to understand what types of questions you're going to get? Because knowing the type of question you're dealing with will help you structure your essay in the best possible way. It will help you plan your essay, plan your ideas, because again, remember, you have a very short time, 30 minutes, to write over 300 words. So every minute counts, every second counts. You have to know right away what you're dealing with, how to deal with it, and get right to your ideas and content. Okay, so the most common question you will probably face, the most likely question you will face on the TOEFL is the agree-disagree question type. It'll be structured in different ways, but essentially it's all asking the same thing. Do you agree with the following statement? Some people believe that A, other people believe that B, or just one belief. Some people believe that A. Do you agree or disagree with this belief? To what extent do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree? Now, be very careful about the question you're looking at. If you get to what extent do you agree or disagree, they're telling you right away, first, agree or disagree, then to what extent. But if they say only to what extent do you agree, and you don't agree, then you can say I disagree or I don't agree at all, meaning I disagree. So you have to be careful about the question. Now, as far as the what extent questions, it's just a matter of adding one word or two words, for example. Just make a degree, make a level of agreement or disagreement. And of course, you're going to have to say why or why not you agree or disagree with anything. So now, very generally, let's look at the type of structure you might use. Again, you don't have to use this, but if you have a problem structuring your essay quickly and you're not sure how to approach it, here are some ideas. In the introduction, clearly state whether you agree or disagree. This is the most important thing. If you don't tell the reader in the introduction which way you're going, it's very hard for the reader to follow your line of argument. There is a way of writing an essay where your thesis is at the end in the last paragraph. I highly recommend against this. Basically, don't do it, because if you run out of time and you don't put in that thesis statement, your whole essay falls apart. Put it in the introduction, say whether you agree or disagree, and then worry about everything else. I agree that. This is how you can say your thesis, your opinion statement. I agree that whatever. I disagree with this idea because I recommend putting in your reasons right in the introduction, in your last sentence, in your thesis statement. That's entirely up to you. In my opinion, this statement is not true as, and then give your reasons. Again, remember, if the question asks, do you agree or disagree? If the question has a you, the answer can have an I, me, or my. It's all good. Personally, this belief is questionable as, if you don't want to use the personal pronoun I, me, my, then use personally, this belief is questionable as. This essay, and if you don't want to use it at all, like you don't want to bring yourself into it at all, this essay will argue against this idea using reason A, B, or C. Now, to what extent? If you have a what extent question, I somewhat agree. I completely agree. I do not agree at all. Indeed, I believe this is correct, etc. There's a few other words. These are enough. Now, the reason I put somewhat in red is a little bit of a warning. If you say I somewhat agree, I partially agree, then right away you've committed to saying why you disagree. If you say I completely agree, then this is just an agree essay. And why do you agree? If you say I somewhat agree, then you don't agree 100%. So you agree 90%. You have to tell me what that 10% is. So you've just made this essay harder for yourself. Okay? Just completely agree, completely disagree, say why, much easier. In the body, paragraph 1, reason 1. Paragraph 2, reason 2. Very simple. Now, it's very, very important that you don't have an equal share. But I'm going to talk about that, like agree and disagree. You can include a concession argument in either or both paragraphs, though I recommend very strongly you do it in the second paragraph and then maintain focus on your argument. Okay, very important. Now, and I put very bold, very big letters there. Do not discuss both sides of the argument equally. Make sure that you have a very clear stand to one side or the other. I've seen many people write essays in body paragraph 1, I agree because this, and that. Good. Body paragraph 2, now they want to give a concession. They want to give a little bit of a nod to the other side. Why would someone disagree? What would somebody who disagrees, how would they counter your argument? That's a very good thing to do. A concession is a very strong tool, but make sure that your concession is 1, maximum 2 sentences, and then make sure that you turn it back around to why you do agree, and support that argument for why you agree. A lot of people, they start with a concession, then they forget to turn it back. So the whole second body paragraph is an argument of why you disagree. So then you have body paragraph 1 agree, body paragraph 1 disagree, and then the reader doesn't know why in your introduction, in your thesis statement, you said agree. But you're giving me 2 equally convincing arguments for and against. It doesn't work. If you agree completely in the first paragraph, a little bit of disagree in the second, but then agree again in the second. Make sure it's a very clear argument to one side. Okay, so let's look at the next type of question. For or against, support or oppose. Basically, this is very similar to the agree, disagree. So do you support or oppose this situation? Are you for or against this particular activity? They'll give you some sort of situation. For example, a developer wants to open a shopping mall in your neighborhood. Do you support or oppose this construction? Okay, doesn't matter the context, doesn't matter the situation. This is the question. Again, very similar to agree, disagree, except instead of providing reasons why you support or oppose, make sure those reasons focus more, they're not really reasons, they're more benefits, the pros and cons of this activity. So you have your reasons for believing or for supporting or opposing, but these are based on costs and benefits, okay? Again, how to start? I support this because, in my opinion, whatever the situation is good, and I support it because, give your reasons. Now, paragraph 1, again, in the introduction, you say what you choose, support or oppose. In paragraph 1, you focus on the choice you've made, support, and say what are the benefits, what are the pros of doing this? What are the pros of building that shopping mall in your neighborhood? In paragraph 2, don't write a concession. Don't say what somebody else might argue against you. What you want to do is you still want to look at the other side, but you want to look at the costs. So what are the costs? What are the disadvantages of not building that supermarket or that shopping mall, right? Because what you're doing, you're still supporting your reason. So I support the shopping mall because it helps people, it helps the economy. And not building the shopping mall will make people leave the town to go other places and spend their money there, and it will hurt our economy. Or again, look at a different example altogether, because it might increase traffic to my friend's neighborhood, whatever. Didn't think about the answer for this one yet. But anyways, body paragraph 1, the benefits. Body paragraph 2, the costs of not doing it. Okay. Another question type, open-ended question. I gave you a few examples here, but basically this is like a WH question: what, when, where, who, how, and then whatever the topic is. What are some possible causes of pollution? What are some possible consequences of letting young children have a smartphone at an early age, etc.? These questions can be about anything, and they can be structured in any way, but they all begin with a WH question. What you have to understand is that this is a descriptive essay. Unless they ask you, what is your opinion, then this is not an opinion essay. This is a descriptive essay where you're talking about one thing, one topic, and you're describing it. You're telling me information about it. It's not an opinion. It's just a very objective look. This is a slightly different type of writing, but I'll do a different video for that. I'll show you how to write a descriptive essay. But very generally, in the introduction, present the topic. What are we talking about? We're talking about kids, we're talking about technology, we're talking about kids and technology, etc. Present two details that answer the specific question. So in your introduction, what two details of this topic are you going to focus on? In this particular essay, you don't need to say, in my opinion, because they're not asking you for opinion. You don't need to say, I believe, I agree, because there's no agreement, there's no belief, there's no opinion, there's no I. Okay? Get to the point of the topic, choose two details you're going to look at, start talking about those. So again, I gave you an example. What are some sources of pollution that can be prevented or lowered? Okay? We're talking about pollution. Here's a sample introduction. Some of the major polluters are emissions from cars, as well as poisonous chemicals dumped into rivers by manufacturing plants. We're talking about pollution, and we're talking about emissions and chemical dumping. Okay? Those are my two details, and my overall topic is pollution. These can be tackled in several ways. So I'm going to talk about the actual question. How can they be prevented, tackled, fought, or prevented, including in several ways, including improved public transportation and higher penalties for corporations that endanger lives. So I have my topic, pollution. I have my details, the two types of pollution I'm going to talk about, and I have my thesis statement. How can these polluters be fought, be dealt with? One way, another way. Cars, emissions from cars, public transportation. I'm talking about chemical dumping, penalties for corporations. Paragraph 1, the first one, the cars and the public transportation. Paragraph 2, the other one, okay? Describe the source, detail the actions to fight these, no opinion necessary. This is a descriptive essay. Okay, next, you're gonna have a hypothetical question. If what? If who? Your answer is also going to be hypothetical. What does hypothetical mean? It means imaginary. So technically, it's like an opinion, but it's not really an opinion because it's not a real situation. So make sure you understand it's not a real situation. You're using your imagination, but it's still a personal question. So if you could have dinner with any famous celebrity, who would it be? So the question is you, the answer is I. What would you discuss with this person? What are you going to talk about? So again, it's not an opinion, but it's still about you. You're still giving your idea about this topic, this question. Answer the question directly in your introduction. If I had the opportunity to dine with Johnny Depp or Angelina Jolie or whoever, I would love to ask him or her about whatever movie they made. Just an example here. So you can talk about anybody you want. Always have somebody ready in mind. It's good to have a famous person in your mind, always available, always ready for the speaking test, for the writing test, etc. And then say why. Why did you choose this person? Body paragraph 1. Why would you talk about these topics? Body paragraph 2. Very simple, very straightforward. Then you're going to have a compare and contrast. Compare and contrast these two beliefs, these two opinions. Or here's a situation. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages of this situation? Or some people believe A. Other people disagree. Discuss both sides of this issue. So what is the good argument about the agree? What is the good argument about the disagree? And quite frequently you will be asked to choose one. Okay? So if you're not asked to choose one, if you're just asked to compare and contrast, then you don't really need an opinion. You're just looking at the two sides. This is basically a descriptive essay, right? You mention the two choices, mention that the issue has advantages and disadvantages. So in your introduction, what is the topic? What is the question? And your thesis is there are two sides to this. There are advantages, there are disadvantages to it. That's it. If you are asked to choose, then you do the same thing as before. You say, here's a question, here's the fact that there are two sides to it. I believe more in side A. I believe there are more disadvantages than advantages. Okay. Body paragraph 1, compare and contrast one aspect. So again, if they're not asking you to choose, body 1, side 1. Body 2, side 2. If they are asking you to take a side, body paragraph 1, you make your major comparisons there, but you already start to lean. You already start to take one side. Body paragraph 2, you support your choice with a fully developed reason, with a fully developed argument. Why did you make this particular choice, not that particular choice? you can look at the other side and use it to support why you made the choice you made. Okay, but again, make sure you're not giving an equal argument to both sides. And sometimes the last question type you might get is they'll give you a few options, choose one, say why you made this choice. Again, this is an opinion question. Introduction, describe the context. What does this choice have to do? Like, what is this choice out of all the other choices? What are we talking about? And clearly state your choice. Body paragraph 1, reason 1. Body paragraph 2, reason 2. Now, if you want to make a short comparison to the second choice, so like I give you an example here, you have 4 choices. Choose one, but you can say why you think it is more suitable than the next choice. Don't try to compare all 4. You don't have time, you don't have space or word count. Compare it to one other, only look at 2, don't look at all 4, okay? Which of the following activities is the most wasteful of a person's free time? So people have a lot of things to distract them. You have free time. A lot of these things just waste your time. Surfing the internet, watching television, just going through Instagram, or just going for a walk. Which of these are the biggest waste of time? Choose one. For example, surfing the internet is the biggest waste of time. And then give your reason 1. Body paragraph 2, it's continue on the internet, but say, although watching television is also a waste of time, but these days you can watch television on the internet, so it's actually the same thing. Okay, and then you're done. Conclusion is a whole other matter, very short, very sweet, a restatement of the introduction, so don't get too deep into it, etc. Okay, so those are the question types you have to deal with. Some suggestions on how to deal with them. And again, practice writing essays before you go write your test. Try to write an essay for each type of question. Make up your own questions or go online and find questions. Go to writetotop.com. You'll find some questions there as well. And yeah, that's it for this lesson. If you have any questions, ask it below here in YouTube. Go to my Facebook page, go to my Twitter page, go to my Instagram page. You can ask me any question in those places and I'll be happy to help you out. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Maybe give me a thumbs up if you care to. Keep in mind, I will have lots of these videos to help you guys write better, do well on your English exams, whatever exam that may be. A lot of this stuff carries to the other exams. If you're writing the IELTS, find out the question types there as well. I will make a video about that, but in the meantime, go look for those question types. And that's it. I hope to see you guys again soon, and I'll see you then.